Hey, what's up? This Mosquito Spray. You're tuned into Mosquito Spray's Boxing Breakdown. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my initial thoughts on this upcoming super fight we got between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. Now, I've been putting this off a little bit because anybody that knows me know that these guys are my two favorite active fighters. It was a fight I was kind of torn about, but somebody got to win and somebody got to lose. And I'm, as the time has passed, I'm more and more excited to see it and to see what can happen when these guys get in this ring. And we'll touch on a couple of things, just give a quick outline on these guys and give some little quick thoughts. I'm not going to give a real tough breakdown on this time. I'm going to do that later on, but just going to touch on a little bit and give some initial thoughts. So we'll start off with Terence Crawford. He's currently got a record of 41 wins, no losses, no draws, 31 knockouts. Been a champion across 4 divisions, all 4 divisions he competed in, which were 135, 140, 147, and 154. He's been a 3-time lineal champion at 35, 40, and 47. He's been a 2-time undisputed champion at 40 and 47. Up to this point, he has not faced anyone who is a current Hall of Famer. Like I said, on this channel, we don't speculate on who we think is going to get in or should be in. We talk about guys that's in. So at this point, Terence Crawford has not faced any Hall of Famers. But as far as his notable fights go, in my opinion, the first, of course, you got to start off with the Gamboa fight. He won that by 9th round TKO. Then Victor Postol, who was, up and coming at 140. Let's not forget Danny Garcia dropped his WBC belt and moved up to 47 instead of facing Postol. Postol had Freddie Roach in his corner. If you look at his record, he didn't have a big knockout ratio, but he had scored some knockouts in his last couple of fights. I believe, Selchuk Aydin, he had brutally stopped. And then he made Lucas Matisse, who at the time was a boogeyman, quit on a knee. So, he was perceived as the boogeyman. Crawford went out there and beat him by unanimous decision. Then he moved up to 47. Jeff Horn, who was undefeated, WBO champion, had just beat, the great Manny Pacquiao. Crawford went up, 9th round TKO. And then Kell Brook, who he stopped in the 4th round. Then Sean Porter, who he stopped in the 10th round. Of course, Sean Porter had went tooth and nail with Earl Spence. Had never been stopped, was a tough, strong fighter, respected by many fighters and, analysts or whatever the case may be. And Crawford ended up stopping him in the 10th round. And then, of course, we all know what happened on the fateful day of July 29th of 2023. That was the Earl Spence fight. And, he stopped Spence in the 9th round. And then, of course, his most recent fight, when he moved up to 154, the win over WBA champion Israel Madrimov, beat him by unanimous decision. So that's Crawford as far as, what he's accomplished as a fighter, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, 3-time lineal champion, 3-weight class lineal champion, 2-weight class undisputed champion. And so we got Canelo Alvarez. So, of course, Canelo got a record of 63 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, 39 knockouts. Canelo has also been the champion across 4 weight divisions: 154, 160, 168, and 175. He's been a lineal champion also across 3 weight divisions: 154, 160, and 168. And he was undisputed twice now, and is currently undisputed, at 168. Now, Canelo, on the other hand, has fought 3 Hall of Famers in his career. The first being Sugar Shane Mosley on May 5th, 2012. He beat him by unanimous decision. Of course, most people say that was an older, more shot-worn version of Shane Mosley. I can't, can disagree with that, but nevertheless, he beat him by unanimous decision. The next guy was on September 14, 2013, the great Floyd Mayweather, who he lost to by majority decision. And of course, we know the scorecards was, a trip that night, but Mayweather dominated, but nevertheless, he beat him by majority decision in the almanac. Then on November 21st, 2015, he took on Miguel Cotto, who at the time was also the lineal middleweight champion after he stopped Sergio Martinez, and he beat Cotto by unanimous decision that night. So versus Hall of Famers, Canelo has compiled a record of 2 wins, 1 loss, no draw, with no knockouts. And as far as his overall notable fights, in my opinion, first being the Mayweather fight, which again he lost by a majority decision. Another notable fight, in my opinion, was against Erislandy Lara, and I personally thought Canelo lost that fight that night, but he got the decision nevertheless. Lara was showing up to press conferences. He was trying to get guys in the ring. What a lot of guys wanted to fight him. He come from that Cuban boxing school with southpaw, had a bit of pop to him, and good footwork, and he was hard to deal with. But I give Canelo credit. Against the wishes of his promoter, he got in there with him, and like I say, he got a split decision victory. Then the next notable fight being again against Miguel Cotto, which he won by unanimous decision. Then there's a trilogy he had with Gennady Golovkin. Of course, there's some mixed reviews on that. I personally didn't have a problem with the way the fights went. I thought the first one was very close, could have went either way. I didn't have a problem with the draw. Of course, Adelaide Bird's card, it was the one that put a black eye on the night. She had a 10-2 for Canelo. I didn't watch a 10-2 fight. So I understand why people were up in arms about the scorecards, but nevertheless, in my opinion, it was a close fight. Could have went either way. It got out of a draw. The next fight, I thought I had it 5 tight after 10 rounds. Canelo bit down the mouthpiece and clearly won the last 2 rounds to win 7-5. He won a close decision, and we ain't even got to talk about the third fight. So against Golovkin, he had a record of 2 wins, no losses, 1 draw with no knockouts. Then the next notable fight being against Sergey Kovalev. He moved up to 175, stopped Kovalev in the 11th round to take his belt and become light heavyweight champion. And so, regardless of what people say, Kovalev, had been in some wars, whatever the case may be, Canelo went up there and stopped him. Then Bivol was the next notable fight, and of course, Bivol dominated him that night, beat him by unanimous decision. And then the next fight, which is kind of similar to how some people were viewing this fight because of the circumstances, against a guy who at the time was undisputed at 154 in Jermell Charlo. And, Canelo caught and dropped Charlo with a right hand, and Charlo pretty much got on his bicycle and went in survival mode the rest of the night. Canelo took a unanimous decision. So those Canelo notable fights. So, of course, if we compare the resumes, of course, it's clearly in favor of Canelo. I say all the time, of course, I guess we could say Manny Pacquiao is currently active, but outside of Pacquiao, in my opinion, Canelo has the best resume of any active fighter in boxing. Now, of course, people say, oh, he ducks this guy and ducks that guy. Yeah, I agree. He avoided Demetrius Andrade, and I agree he's avoiding David Benavidez. But at the same time, as the true face of boxing, the true king of boxing, aka the general, he's earned the right to do so. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. Nevertheless, him and Crawford gonna get it in on September 13th, and I'm looking forward to it. Now, as far as what I want to touch on, man, I've been seeing a bunch of trainers, fighters, content creators, giving their opinions on this fight and what they think. So I'm gonna throw my hat in the ring too, man. But not real tough this time, like I said, just a little bit. Now, as far as people saying that, for that crowd that's saying, oh, Canelo's the bigger guy, he's the bigger, stronger guy, the size and strength and power are gonna decide this fight, I disagree. And on the same token, on the flip side of that, for the guys that's saying Canelo is washed up and shot worn and Crawford's going to go in there and land a few magical punches and knock Canelo out, I disagree with that too. This, in my opinion, is the true definition of a 50-50 fight, man. It's about who can impose their skill along with their will and make the other man fight their fight. Both of these guys have a path to victory in this fight, man. Both of these guys. It's just a matter of certain factors that's going to play out that we're not going to know about until they're actually in the ring. Because we can speculate all we want about, Canelo's big, he hits guys to the body, he has this power, and we've seen Crawford, look spectacular against this guy and that guy. Again, as we all know, there's no denying that when these guys retire, the day they retire, they just gotta wait. I'm not sure, I think it's 5 years or whatever the case may be. On that day, whenever that time comes, these guys are both surefire first ballot Hall of Fame. This is a true super fight, man, and boxing needs this. Hopefully more guys, follow suit after this. Whatever the result is, no matter what it is, we need more fighters to step up to the plate and give us these fights. This takes us back to the old days, man. This is Sugar Ray Robinson moving up from 60 to 75, taking on Joey Maxim. This is Sam Langford coming in weighing about 176, flattening heavyweights. This is the great Roberto Duran moving up from 35 to 47 and beating Sugar Ray Leonard. This is that kind of fight, man. We don't know what's going to happen. We really don't. And anybody that think they do is fooling themselves and fooling their public, man. That ain't what this is. This is a super fight, man. These guys are here for a reason. Look at this. His Excellency put this fight in Allegiant Stadium. This is a stadium fight. That tells you what this is, man. All this ain't been set up for no reason. This ain't a regular, ordinary fight. This ain't no money grab, and this ain't no walk in the park. It ain't neither one of them things, man, for neither one of these guys, man. I like I said, I've been sitting back listening, man. People are not putting enough respect on this fight. And it's almost like people are trying to tarnish and downplay the fight because they quote unquote favorite fighter ain't in this fight. Now, if that's thing for a couple of crowds or fan bases, it's meant to. Because like I said, I've been sitting back listening to a lot of it, man, and I've been keeping real quiet. You know what I'm saying? But it's like I said, it's time to get on out here and speak my piece on this, man. Because anybody that really knows the sport, that really loves the sport, will appreciate this fight. And anybody that really knows the sport is not gonna say that this fight is just heavily favored one way or the other. That is a lazy take, and it's not it's not the take of a true student of this game, a purist, any of that, whatever you want to call it, man. There's been cases where you got the phrase, the cliche, a great big man always beat a great little man and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, that's true in some cases, but then there are a lot of cases where that has not been the case. You know what I'm saying? And we like I said, we can go throughout history. We can point out plenty of times, in recent times. Like I said, Roberto Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard, Shane Mosley moving up from 35 to 47, beating De La Hoya. Who else we got? I know there's a lot of people, of course. Now, I'm not going to lie, De La Hoya hadn't competed in the weight class for over a decade, but he was at 47, and Manny Pacquiao moved up to 35. I know before that bell rung, there were a lot of people thought Manny Pacquiao was crazy and that he stood no chance against De La Hoya. He went up there and destroyed him. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I mentioned Sam Langford. There are plenty of instances. There were big men in the back in the days that ducked smaller men. Look up how Jack Dempsey never wanted to get in the ring with Harry Greb, or how he never wanted to get in the ring with Sam Langford. I mean, this is throughout history, man. Great fighters are great fighters no matter what weight class they're in, man. Henry Armstrong was simultaneously champion at 26, 35, and 47 all at the same time. So, I mean, of course, he had to move up through weight classes to do this, man. There are plenty of instances where size and so-called visual or weightlifting strength did not play up, was not the only determining factors of who's going to win a fight. This is boxing. This is not Mr. Olympia. This is not World's Strongest Man. And this is not a beauty contest. This is boxing. And boxing is boxing. And the only thing that wins fights is fighting. Not talking, not speculation, not whose forearms or chest is bigger. None of that mess matters when that bell rang, man. It's about who can fight and who can fight better than the other man. There's going to be a winner, there's going to be a loser. Like I said, I'm looking forward to it, man. These are my two favorite fighters, and this is truly a 50-50 fight, man. Anybody that say it is not is lying to themselves, and y'all lying to y'all crowds and y'all followers or whatever the case may be, man. But I'm gonna tell the hard truth. Maybe the one nobody want to hear. You know what I'm saying? But this is a super fight, man, and I'm really looking forward to it. But I'm not gonna hold y'all for too long. Oh. One more thing I gotta say. And I gotta say this loud and clear. For all of y'all that's blatantly trying to tarnish this fight and blatantly trying to tarnish the legacy of Terence Crawford, talking about all this Victor Conte and snack mess. Let me throw this up on the screen real quick, because two things y'all need to know. Yeah, I'm that guy. That was me. And this is who y'all really are. This is what's wrong with y'all. This is why y'all really upset about this. And this is why y'all really bringing up Victor Conte. So why don't y'all go on and come out the closet, man, and let y'all identity be known, man. Y'all know who y'all is. I don't care who get mad. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. And I guess you can look on her now. I guess somebody really took it off the Urban Dictionary, so it ain't there no more. But I saved a copy of it. So there it is for everybody to see. But y'all stand tall in y'all identity and admit to the world the real reason y'all mad, man. Y'all boy got destroyed and y'all can't stand it. But it is what it is, man. He got the fight and not y'all boy. But I'm going to leave y'all with that. I ain't going to take up too much of y'all time, man. But like I said, it's a super fight. I'm looking forward to it. And y'all tune in September 12th. I'm going to do my real breakdown. But I'm going to get out the way, man. Y'all take it light.